meeting in order tonight. I'd like to have our chief of police lead us in the pledge of allegiance, and after this, our city manager to say a prayer for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come here tonight to do the work of this community. We ask that you be with us tonight and do your will. We also ask that you be with our nation. We ask that you lead us and guide us in everything we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, I now call this meeting of the Fort St. Joe City Commission to order. First up on our order today is consent agendas. We have one from the regular commission meeting on 10/17, and then we have one on the workshop meeting on 10/24. Everyone had a chance to look those over? Or need a motion to approve by someone if you have? So moved. Have a motion by Commissioner Ashbrook. Second by Commissioner Lizette. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Fort St. Joe redevelopment.
Yes, MLK and Avenue C sidewalks on here. We discussed that in our PSJRA meeting today, and we've got to get with Public Works and the city to talk about who's going to pay for what, who's going to do what work, so we'll bring that up subsequent meeting.
All right, thank you. City Attorney.
Yes, Mayor. The first thing on the agenda for me this evening is Ordinance 539 dealing with the ad valorem taxes. I'm going to ask you to call for a public hearing and then ask for a third reading and adoption.
Anyone in the audience wish to address this ordinance 539, the AD ad valorem taxes today? Anyone? All right.
Bear with me because this is one that I have to read the whole thing.
Motion to read.
Motion to read.
Yep, second.
We have permission by Commissioner Bezet, second by Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Ordinance number 539, an ordinance of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida, levying the ad valorem property tax millage rate for the municipal purposes on all taxable property within the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018, stating the percentage by which the millage levied is 3.62% more than the rollback rate and providing an effective date. Whereas Florida law requires the City Commission of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida to pass an ordinance or resolution levying the millage rate for ad valorem property taxes for municipal purposes on all taxable property within the city limits of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018. Whereas Florida law requires said ordinance or resolution to state the millage rate to be levied and also to state the percentage by which the millage rate is greater, equal to, or less than the rollback rate as computed pursuant to Florida law. And whereas the City Commission of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida has duly considered the budgetary requirements of the city, has adopted a tentative budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018, based on a millage rate of 3.5914 mils on the taxable property within the city, and has acted in accordance with the terms, provisions, and procedures contained in Section 200.065 Florida statutes. Now therefore be enacted by the people of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida, in special session assembled that 1. The ad valorem property tax millage rate for the municipal purposes to be levied on the taxable property within the city limits of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida during the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2017 and ending September 30th, 2018 is hereby set at the rate of 3.5914 mils. 2. The percentage by which the millage rate to be levied is less than the rollback rate of 3.4661 mils computed pursuant to Florida law is 3.62%. This ordinance shall be effective October 1st, 2017.
All right, motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion by Commissioner Ashbrook,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bezet. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
The next item on the agenda is ordinance 540 dealing with the 2017-2018 fiscal year budget. I'm going to ask for a public hearing and the third reading and a consideration of adoption.
All right, once again, we ask if there's anybody in the public who wish to address this ordinance number 540, 2017, 2018 budget. Anyone in the audience? I need a motion to read. So moved by Commissioner Lowry, second by Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Ordinance number 540, an ordinance of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida, adopting the tentative budget for fiscal year 2017-2018 as the final budget of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida for fiscal year 2017 and 18, and providing for an effective date.
Motion to adopt.
So motion, Commissioner Brazil. Second, Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
This next item on the agenda is ordinance 544, which is an ordinance dealing with parcel number 04939-00R, which is 208 7th Street. That's one of those districts that is zoned commercial, but has been traditionally residential. And what we're doing is we're changing it to allow for residential purposes there. I need you to call for a public hearing and then vote for a first reading and a request to advertise.
Once again, anyone in the audience wish to have a public hearing, wish to say so on this issue? Anyone? All right, call for the reading.
Motion to read.
Have a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook,
Second.
second from Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Ordinance number 544, an ordinance of the City of Port St. Joe, Florida, amending the City of Port St. Joe land development regulations, providing for additional land uses in certain areas of the city, providing for density, setbacks, and lot coverage, providing for repeal of all ordinance or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. I just need a vote to allow us to go ahead and advertise this.
Motion to advertise.
Motion from Commissioner Ashbrook, second from Commissioner Brazil. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
The last thing I have on my agenda, it's actually not on the agenda, but I just wanted to give you an update. If you remember, it may have been a meeting or 2 meetings ago, you voted to allow me to go ahead and negotiate the situation dealing with 1303 McClellan. That was Miss Marie Nagel's property. That was quite an eyesore and that the neighbors been having problems with for years. I went ahead, that has been taken care of. That house has been now torn down, and the city did recover $800 towards our lien that we had on it. We had approximately about $250 in expenses, and so we covered our expenses plus.
Right, I appreciate that.
And that's all that I have.
That's all you have? All right, Jim?
Yes, sir. The first item we have is a reference to the Triumph Fund application. At the last meeting, we had Mr. Gager come and speak to the board, and he gave us a pre-application process. Since then, we've gave a letter of support to the county in reference to their request on court, and we still have the application there. I don't know that there's a concrete deadline on this, Mayor, but I did want y'all to realize we were told initially there was a pre-application deadline of the 15th.
Got a meeting tomorrow, I think, in Crawfordville. Some kind of meeting, Triumph, I heard a meeting tomorrow. What we need to do?
If there's something we want to go ahead and submit early on in the pre-application process, we can get it in. I'm not even sure exactly where we need to get it mailed to be honest with you. I haven't heard a concrete deadline on it, but that was what we were given initially, was a pre-application.
Jason's not here tonight, is he?
I don't see him, no. I think we just need to.
to Tallahassee for a trial, my understanding.
Justin.
If
No,
we get
Justin
any-
didn't follow
got
the
any
pass of the
ideas?
town vote.
What we want to apply for. I guess we need to.
I'll share a project that I've been thinking about for a lot of years, and I know, shoot, I think back before, well, when Mel first got started, they talked about acquiring the museum, the State Museum, and relocating it over to Cool Park. That's something that I think that we can get accomplished in the $600,000 range. And when I did speak to Jason Schoaf, he said that if it's an education-based project, it's going to get extra grants. He felt pretty strongly about my idea of having the museum moved over there, maybe have some office space for nonprofits that offer services to children, an art class for kids or something about history, and then having an upstairs that would be a public use area.
Right idea.
Right there, across from Ronnie B's there in the wooded area.
Yeah,
So,
the
I mean,
the state did indicate they would give us that property
Yes,
only if. we
all of
would-
it to the water.
All of it, if we would relocate all the artifacts in the museum and display them. So I think that's a great
I think
idea.
it's a good thing to start with. I mean,
Yes.
they're handing out money right now, so
Yes.
fast.
The main thing on that project, and I like it, but we just gotta remember in the back of our minds that we're gonna have to maintain
Sure.
that building in the future, so.
Well, and I think we're getting to the point too with our, you know, our 9 parcel parks front over there on the water that, you know, it may come a time where we might need a parks director for all the waterfront. Now that we have income coming in from those properties, you know, it can easily sustain that and be maintained. So that's, I mean, looking forward, I think that that's something that'll support itself.
Absolutely. So what do we need to do, or what do you propose to do to, you work with the?
We got till the 15th.
Right.
I mean, if y'all like the idea, I can work with Jim. This is a very quick pre-application, just to give them kind of an idea.
We need to get something on the drawing board.
Yeah,
If
we don't
y'all-
need to let it slip.
If y'all are fine with that idea, I'll just get with Jim and we'll just fill out that quick idea and then we'll go from there. And it's gonna need to be engineered and the
Yeah.
architect's gonna have to look at it and.
Let's make sure our dollar figure that we apply for
Is
is
correct.
big enough.
Big enough. And I talked to Clay a little bit a while back, and we sort of shot that figure around, but maybe we'll add a little fat to it and see what we can get.
I like it.
Very much.
We'll work on the application then. The next item we have is in reference to the lighting donation. We did receive $10,000. We do have that money been received for the lighting donation down at the park. One thing we are working to, kind of in conjunction, is working with Leanna at the county in reference to the $200,000 grant for the Trails Grant. She's going back and looking to see if we can kind of work that into conjunction, because we did find out there's a $40,000 match on the grant. So we don't know if that can be used as part of the match money or how that would come into play. But we just want to let y'all know we do have the $10,000 and we are trying to start the process on the trails.
Have they said anything about in-kind? Can we use that 10,000 for the
Part of it,
lights?
yes. The indication where we can use some in-kind services on there. It's going to be kind of hard putting and installing the lighting, which is going to be the main bulk of it. But there are some elements in there with some improvements to the actual path itself, so we may be able to use some in-kind.
One of the things we discussed at our VSGA meeting was that we did budget around $25,000, maybe a little more, for George Court Park, and that path was part of what we wanted to do anyway. So we've got some money available there as well.
As details come out. Okay, on to new business. The first item we have is the CATF membership. This is in reference to Mr. Bruce Ballister indicating that he needed to have a CATF meeting to actually his recommendations for the CDBG grant cycle, which is coming up. He was looking to add one member on there. He gave one in there for you for consideration, or if you had somebody else in there on page 13.
Mr. John Parker's the recommendation.
Yes, sir. I think he had talked to Mr. Parker.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Commissioner Espinel, second from Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations,
Appreciate it.
John.
Thank you, John.
The next item we have on was the Gulf Air sewer discussion. At our last workshop, it was discussed about moving it forward tonight on there. I don't know if anybody's got any additional information. I haven't received anything at this point, but I did put it on there for you.
I don't think we've got any discussion tonight.
Nothing further on that, we'll move along. The next item we have is a reference to the Jones Homestead Sewer Project. What we have is we received $250,000, part of a legislative appropriation, to actually put in sewer in Jones Homestead. We sent out an initial letter trying to get interest from the community. I think Mike's got 12 folks.
It's up to 15 as of
15.
today.
In the initial grant paperwork, it asked that we would try to get 65 people initially installed in there for the lines on there. One thing we're running into is right now, they're currently, folks would have to pay the impact fees, plus pay a plumber to actually do the install of the grinder pump and to actually have it crushed and filled. Our thinking is that if we could waive the impact fee, since we're getting the money for the grants to actually do the infrastructure part anyways, which is what you want to use your impact fees for initially, essentially the lines. If you did that, then The folks that want to tie in, we've got the money in there for 65 grinder stations. So basically, all they have to do is pay the $400 tap fee, $100 for deposit on the account, so $500 to the city, and then they would have that cost to the plumber to do the installation work on there. So we can cut the cost substantially and hopefully have more interest in there if it's something more interested in.
What your ballpark figure the cost for the individual to do that? 500 to us.
500 to us.
What's the ballpark for plumber and all that? I'm just wondering what's going to cost a person. What incentive do they have to?
I would be safe to say a couple $1,000.
It's probably a good number.
I would say
So bottom line is $2,500 they can hook up sewer.
That's correct.
somewhere along there.
But if this passes by and their septic tank goes out and they're required to hook on the sewer, then what would it cost?
Right now, with the grant, we're paid for up to 65 people would pay for a grinder
Well,
station.
no, I'm talking about after that's gone.
It would cost approximately $8,000, $6,000 for impact fee, tap fees, grinder pump,
The whole
and then the
shebang.
$2,000 estimate to probably
So-
a plumber, about $8,000.
So 2,500 versus 8,000, I think we need to send out letters and explain that, because I'm sure something's gonna fail.
And that's strictly for sewer.
That's just sewer.
The bottom line is the past 5 years, you've seen a lot of development in the area, and they've been septic tanks put in there. Palm Breeze Way, it's a prime example.
Yep.
Yes, so you have people that are on the fence thinking, I've just put in a new septic system in there, do I really want to pay a
Yeah.
monthly bill? We've got to make it a worthwhile venture for these folks. So that's
I mean, if we need to make a motion, I'll
Yes.
make a motion, we waive the impact fees
for
and
specifically for this project.
for this project and send out a letter to that effect. And explain to them what's gonna happen after we get, 65 people hook up.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Commissioner Rosette, a second from Commissioner Wilder. Any further discussion?
I just have one question. Are we cutting that freebie off at 65? Or if we get 150 rush, are we waiving all those impact fees?
Good question.
We got a price.
Right now, the obligation is at 65. I would say that we say 65 and then come back to you if we have it. There's been other
So
options
let's
on there.
cap it at 65
I would
now.
cap it at 65, yes, sir. That's what the
We
grant.
gotta have money for our trunk lines.
Right.
We do, and plus the equipment purchase, so
Yeah.
beyond that 65, we no longer have the funding for the equipment, so that has to be reconsidered.
So if you amend your motion, that
Yeah,
that is,
amend the motion to cap it at 65 at the present time.
I'll second that.
Second stands.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries forward.
The next item we have is in reference to planning services. If you recall a few meetings back, we decided to go out to see what we could do as far as our planning services. We have advertised one time locally. We did not have any responders back, so we're going to send it back out and also put it in a larger circulation paper. We're going to put it in the Panama City paper, see if we can get some interest, because we were also told that Ms. Marina Pennington, she would be retiring at the end of the month, so we have a comp plan that we have to work on.
I think temporarily, Brett, can you handle that for us?
We got my own land updates.
So we'll get that back as soon as we get some interest back. The last item we have tonight under new business is Core Park Rentals. Commissioner Ashbrook want to talk to you tonight about it.
Yeah, sitting through all these PSJA meetings and looking at the progress down there at Core Park, I think it's time that we maybe put our ducks in a row and decide what we want to do with that property. How do we want to split it up as far as rentals go? Do we ever want the park completely closed? I think there's just a lot of discussion, and I'd like to set a little walk-in workshop out there so we can see what's been done and kind of come up with some ideas. I've worked with a couple event planners in town to help me kind of visualize, hey, weddings sometimes happen in this area, so maybe they can just have that. Do we want to charge them if there's just a group of people, or do we only charge them if they're going to be setting up tents and chairs? Things of that nature. But that park, we should be getting a little bit of revenue in there if they're setting up for a wedding. And it is not right now, as far as I know. Are you getting a lot of fees?
Right now, what we have is if somebody rents the whole park, it's $500 in there for the whole venue in there. We've had a couple of small ones in there that we've reduced down to $100. So simple.
I'd like to set a date to just kind of walk down and see what we're working with. It's a lot more valuable now than it once was.
Yeah, I agree.
And and we can push that into January if you'd like. I know it's gonna be busy the next couple months.
I don't know,
I mean, at that,
I'm open for dates, but
we got next week and then Thanksgiving. What about the last week of this month? Does the 28th at noon good, the last Tuesday?
I'm gonna make.
I'm not,
You bet.
yeah, I may not be able to make that.
What about the second week in December, same day, the 12th?
Well, I'm good with that.
That'll work.
That work?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's shoot for noon then, a walking workshop out at the park.
That is him? All right. Public Works.
Yes, sir, Mayor, thank you. The first item I've got this evening involves the 16th Street lift station. Several weeks ago, we lost one of our pumps in that station. We sent the pump off to Jim House Associates for repair and repair estimate. You should have that estimate in your packet, as well as shortly after that, we decided to look to see what the cost of a new pump would be. You also have that cost. So, it's up for your consideration on which way you want to go. I mean, I have a recommendation, based on what I saw, which would be a new pump purchase. Given the fact it's got a 5-year warranty and it's all.
That's, I'll read it off if you want me to.
Sure.
The repair is $24,186, and then the purchase is $28,760. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, kind of
Like a no-brainer.
And that's, they
And it's a warranty.
installed, that's installed?
No, we install.
We do
it.
it. So
actually-
neither one of them we do the install?
No, sir, neither one of them.
Okay.
And it's a 5-year warranty on this new
On the
one.
new.
I mean, you're buying peace of mind there.
And we don't need to go out to bid on it.
Is this in the budget?
It is in the budget, yes, sir.
I'll make a motion for the purchase of the new pump.
Have a motion, Commissioner Ashbrook.
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Lowry. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries forward.
Thank you, Mayor. The second item is really, it's in there for your informational purposes. It seems like we speak about this every year at some point. We just threw it back in there just for discussion if there were to be any.
Thanks, John.
I think we, once we get all the lights up, we may need to identify the poles that need receptacles and go from there. I think you see that it's $3.90 per month per pole on a 12-month contract, basically, to put a receptacle on a pole that we think needs some decoration. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir. That area is slowly but surely shrank over the last several
Yeah.
years because, of power issues.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about needing to update our holiday lights, and they're getting pretty ratty. But can we do that once we get all?
Oh, yeah, honestly, yes, sir. I think it's too late this season to do anything. But I think that, first of the year, if we have that discussion.
Identify them
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
work it we do to
Yeah.
put receptacles.
Yeah, I feel like we had this exact same conversation this time last year.
We did.
And
We did.
I think the one step that got missed was, we need a census of what poles aren't working, because $130 a pole could really add up quick.
Well, if we do decide to have Duke install them, we should install them on all of them.
That's $256 a pole, if Duke installs them.
Which that's correct. Plus, or the maintenance, right. But what I'm saying is we should have that done for the entire area that the board wishes to have Christmas decorations on.
Right.
Can you count poles for us?
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
in my
sir.
mind, I'm thinking 98, MLK, and Reed would be a good start.
Well, 71,
71,
yeah,
98,
well.
MLK, and again, the area used to be a lot more expansive. It just slowly shrunk. So just kick it around. We'll get back in the first of the year. I'll have a poll count for you, what we do. Typically, and you might have some ideas on how you may want to expand it or decrease it. So,
Sounds good.
the third item on there, Mr. Mayor, is a vehicle and equipment purchase for this year. Those are budgeted items. what I'd like to do this evening is get approval from the board to go ahead and make those purchases. They take some time to get in. So if we can get approval, we'll go ahead and get those ordered.
We'll approve them both at one time. We have two different motions.
Did they come in under budget?
One did, one did not.
This is the truck and the excavator?
Correct. The truck or the vehicle came in under budget, the excavator did not. It was 4,000 over, I believe, what we budgeted.
Did you get the gooseneck trailer?
No, sir, not yet.
And this is-
We decided to wait on that. That should not take very long at all to get in, so
we
sometimes these
budgeted-
vehicles, we chase them for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, we budgeted for it. You can't fix drainage issues without it.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, both of these will be purchased under a state contract.
That's my
That's correct.
question.
Yes,
They're
sir, state
both-
contract,
So we
yes,
don't
sir.
have to bid?
No, sir.
We got the state.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You've got the money for the other 4,000?
We'll pull it out of another
Yeah,
capital.
we do. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll make the motion for the purchase of both pieces of equipment.
Have a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook, have a second. Second, Commissioner Brazil. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Mayor, the last thing I have this evening is we opened bids up on Friday of last week regarding the alternates for the CDBG grant for the bores. If you recall, the first bid opening, we only had one respondent. This time we had 3. So the apparent low is Eric Spears at just a little north of 15, which is in line with what it should have been. So my recommendation to the board is if you guys to approve that. And then from there, we'll move it on up to the Water Management District for their approval.
Have we ever used Eric Spear?
Yes, sir, we have.
So moved.
Have a motion from Commissioner Lowry.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Brazil. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right. That you, John?
That's it, sir, unless there's any
Any
questions.
questions for John?
Doors look great.
Thank you.
Yeah, the doors do look great. Okay, Larry.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, I just have a couple of things. First thing I do have some good news for you. Complete Industrial Maintenance and Coatings, that's the contractor who submitted the lowest bid for the renovation of clarifiers 3 and 4. They've come back to us and expressed their desire to honor the initial bid of $42,000. So they've assured us that what they're going to do will be to our satisfaction, and we can go ahead and proceed with that project if you can give us your permission.
42 per clarifier.
No, sir, for both.
Both.
That's
Wow.
I mean, we're talking a $90,000 savings here.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And Larry, I talked to Jim about that today a little bit, and at that price, once they get it sandblasted and the 2 coats that we advertised, I would like to see about letting them go ahead and put a 3rd coat. I mean, we're way under budget, and maybe it'll last a lot longer. That's just something, once they get here, ask them what they would charge to go ahead and put 1 more coat, and we'll have a first-class plus job that may last us a long time.
I'll check with you.
And plus, that may allow them to get the bid on the other 2 when we have to do them.
I'll take care of it.
And as I understand, actually, this is for the attorney, we already did vote to give Shellco the bid at 132. I'll need to rescind my motion, right, from last meeting?
Yes, and then you guys have to re-vote to award.
Okay, I'll go ahead and withdraw my motion to award to Shellco from the last meeting. And I think, Rex, did you second that?
Yeah.
I think in the minutes you did. Does he need to withdraw? his
Yes,
second?
I'll second.
Withdraw your second?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to award to Complete Industrial Maintenance for $42,000.
To what company?
Complete Industrial Maintenance.
Okay.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner
Second that.
Ashbrook, second from
Yep.
Commissioner Brazil. Discussion. We don't have any trouble with Shellco on this?
No, sir. No, sir. I got an email from
No
them.
legal
Yes, sir.
obligations, okay, I just want to clarify that
Yes,
part.
sir. We're fine.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, and Mr. Mayor, I got one more item.
Yes, sir.
I need a request to go out to bid for the filter modules. It's that time of year again.
So moved.
Got Got a motion by
I'd like to
Commissioner
forward-
Lowry,
I'll second for discussion.
second by Commissioner Ashbrook for discussion.
Seeing as we have a $90,000 savings, and one of my big goals this year was to go ahead and get 2 sets of filters purchased, and we use that other 90 or whatever savings we might realize to purchase a second set of filters. If you order 2 sets of modules at once, you might even get a better price.
The only thing I would be afraid of is something going wrong with what we're doing with the spraying, with this contractor. I mean,
Can we all just agree here then not to spend that yet until we get those clarifiers
I'm
done?
fine
And
with
if
that.
the clarifiers look good, then go ahead and do another order?
That would be my main concern, but I'm
Right,
fine
I
with
don't
that.
want to spend it till we know.
So we know that we got a good deal.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that. All right, my second stands.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. What else, Larry?
That's all I've got, unless you got any more questions.
Anybody have any questions for Larry? All right. You talking to the wastewater plant tonight, Jim?
I can, yes, sir. Did talk to Kevin today. He said, what they're trying to do this month, Mayor is trying to do a lot of maintenance on there. He said the Uric Kings, he said he was working on those, trying to also work on the contact chambers. But he said the plan is to do as much maintenance he can this month and start spraying again next month.
Sounds good. All right. Finance Director, Mike.
I don't have anything particular tonight. We are still working on our last fiscal year to close that out and prepare for our auditor. And I do have October's financial statements ready, and I'll have those in your boxes tomorrow.
All right. Any questions for Mike?
Appreciate it, Mike.
Come on up, my man.
Yes, sir. Good evening. A couple of updates. At the boat ramp, they've got a couple of concrete pours planned this week, one tomorrow. If everything goes well, maybe Thursday, if not Friday, but either way, 2 concrete pours should get all the concrete pretty much poured this week down there, and then they'll continue with curing and cleaning up and that kind of thing.
So how much longer will it be closed?
I think it's planned until, get it back up before Thanksgiving. I think the sign has down there, and should be no issues with that as of tonight.
Okay.
Long Avenue, we've been working on getting an appropriation request in for some funding on that, and we've got some comments back that we're working through to address in our application to help make it stronger, so that's where we're at on that. And then the CDBG project, they're working on, they've got pipe in on hydrant F, G, and they've got some bores going in, they're making pretty good progress over the last 3 or so weeks that they've been working, so that's going pretty well so far, and they'll continue to be working on that over the next several months. That's all I have for you, unless you have questions.
Any questions?
Everything. Clay, appreciate you sitting with us the other day on the call with Halsey. I think, hopefully we're getting somewhere.
Sounded positive.
Yeah.
Hope so. Thank you, sorry.
Thanks. See y'all.
All right. Code enforcement. Let's get any reports, I guess.
Yeah, there were some pickups on email, that special pickups that he had reference to, and just kind of remind folks that yard waste we'll pick up, but we're not gonna pick up chairs and couches and old
Choice.
those type things. So those are things people are putting out, and then when code enforcement are having to write them up, it'll save them in the long run if they'll just not do it.
Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I don't have anything unless the board has questions for me.
Chief,
How's your interviews? Good. All right.
we advertising for help.
We have 2 vacancies.
Ain't hired anybody yet?
No, sir.
Got any applications?
We've been through a process. We may settle on one and may re-advertise. We haven't made that decision yet.
Yeah, get the right guy, take your time.
Yeah.
We're going to get the right folks.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Ms. C. Clerk.
Yes, sir, just wanted to let you know that in our opinion, Ghost on the Coast was very successful, had a lot of participation. Parents, children worked hard, seemed to enjoy it. We had a lot of positive comments on it. We did alter our category age-wise a little bit, and it's, I think, a good thing we did, and we might have been there a lot longer. We had 7 judges, and they were very helpful, very happy to do it for us, and it seems like everybody enjoys it. Okay, and also, this past Thursday, went to the Florida Historical Commission grant review. Commissioner Bezell was there, and some other people from St. Joe. Commissioner Ashbrook was there for the Port Theater, but the rankings were provided late Saturday night. The City of Port St. Joe ranked number 11 for funding for the Centennial Building. But before we get real excited, please understand that number one, the legislature has to appropriate the money in the upcoming session. Then if we make it through there, we have to survive the governor's red pen and veto power. But it would take $3,562,749 to get up to completely fund us. So normally they fund somewhat more than that, but we'll just encourage anyone that has the ear of anybody in the legislative delegation to encourage them to support the request from State Historic Preservation for the special category grants.
Charlotte, would you mind sending us all an email of when the legislative session's going to start? It's early this year.
Yes, sir, it starts in January.
It starts in January. It's going to be a busy holiday season. Just a little reminder to lobby a little bit, those guys, because last year they funded how many?
I want to think it was maybe 15, but I could be wrong.
Right, so we're looking pretty good. Port Theater was number 9.
Yes, sir.
So it would really be a feather in our cap. We could get both those
Yes.
funded. So
The highest score that the commission gave to any grant was 93.71. We came in at 88.14, I believe it was, and less than a point difference in us and the Port Theater. So they were very close, and they seemed very interested in what we were doing. Had a lot of favorable comments. The committee did ask a number of questions, but like you say, it would be very nice if we could get roughly $800,000 for our community out of this historical preservation cycle.
thank you for your work, Charlotte.
Appreciate you and everyone going. Had a good
Working on
group.
this project.
And Ms. Charlotte, I would like to, personally thank you for your presentation up there. It was really phenomenal, and you engaged with the judges or with the board up there, and they ask a lot of questions, and I sat through all of them up to that point, and it was just, what do you all think? Okay, they were engaged. They said, I need to get down to Port St. Joe. They were talking about, yeah, I looked in the windows of that place, and I really wanted to go in it. It was amazing. They were really engaged with our community, and maybe it's just because we're close by. But there were cities that didn't have any representation. Mariana was right down the street from them, and they didn't have anybody there, and it looked bad, and the judges were kind of frowning on that. And I don't know where are they at on that list.
I didn't
Somewhere
check.
towards the bottom of that. So it's very important to have us up there and represent you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Wow,
you.
that's
We had,
bottom line.
I think, 6 people, 6 or 8 maybe make the trip, which to them numbers mean a lot. And if you go and show that you are, interested in it. But I don't know if you noticed while you were sitting there waiting for the meeting to start, they had a slideshow going on. And every few slides, it was Cape San Blas when it was, the keeper's quarters was in the water, and then how it looked before they moved it. But that they use in a lot of their meetings to show what you can do through historic preservation. But thank you, sir.
And our architects also showed up
Yes, sir.
to support us, which was a big plus.
Randy Lewis and J.J. Scott. Randy's been with us since the 90s, working on projects to do with Cape San Blas. And if you go to the website where it shows what grants are given in what county, the Cape San Blas Lighthouse has received a number of grants, and they are very supportive of it. One of the ladies on the panel is associated with the Florida Lighthouse Association. But they've been very favorable to us over the last few years for projects, and we appreciate it.
Thank you again. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
everything you do. All right, that's it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Before I call for public discussion, I must mention something first. First, this board is aware of the legal matter regarding Commissioner Thursby. As of this date, he has not been convicted of any crime. And as with any other person in this country, he is innocent until proven guilty. So, with all this being said, we're aware of provisions in the charter, and when and if that matter comes up, we will deal with it. But as for tonight, this matter will not be discussed in this meeting. This is not a court of law. If anyone would wish to discuss this matter, I would suggest you call City Hall between the hours of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You may set up a meeting with either Jim, myself, or both of us, and we'll be glad to talk with you at that time. But this matter will not be discussed tonight in public discussion, so anyone that wishes to speak on this matter, please do as I've asked you to do and contact City Hall. With that being said, is there anybody in the audience wish to speak tonight? Come on up.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, how you doing?
Linda Wood, 206 Long Avenue. I have good news
All right.
that I wanted to share with y'all. I don't know how many of y'all read The Best of the Forgotten Coast for the fifth year, but under local tourist attractions, St. Joe Lighthouse was #1. We beat out Cape San Blas and St. Joseph State Park.
Wow.
And under museums, we were #1 of the Lighthouse Museum that we have in the building. And we beat out the Constitution City Memorial and the Apalachicola Maritime Museum. Very proud of that.
What publication again?
It is the Best of the Forgotten Coast.
Okay.
I believe it was in the Star. Was it not in the Star, Tim?
Okay.
All right. The other thing is, I wanted to encourage you to listen to the Channel 7 News tomorrow night at 7. We had Ron, probably murdered this man's name, Morasco, I believe it is, come over and meet with us, and he has prepared a video, and so it will be shown tomorrow night during the 7 o'clock news time. So I encourage you to watch that. And since Commissioner Ashbrook, this is for the future, obviously, but just for my point of reference, for the Triumph funds, would the Maritime Museum qualify for those funds if we worked up what it's going to cost to do that?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's any restrictions. You don't have to be a municipality to do it. It helps if you get the municipality to sign off on it.
Well, this is a municipality's building, and
Right.
it would be there,
And
so.
that we could
But
absolutely-
who would I talk with? Would it be
Jim has
Jim?
applications.
Okay.
And, I mean, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't support as many projects as we can.
Okay, all
There's a
right.
lot of money that's due to our county.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I do think we've discussed that before, and the value and the need for it. And,
Absolutely, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening, gentlemen. Christy McElroy. You guys didn't go into discussion about the Gulf Air sewer tonight, but there was information in the Star about that. And as I recall, I sat in on a number of meetings several years ago when Mr. Seifert came to the city and Patrick Farrell came with him to try to get us to buy that. And I think Mr. Brantlin did a very comprehensive, informative slide presentation about that situation. So maybe it's time to revisit that. I saw the price tag on this. I guess my questions are, you know, do the lift stations work well? When was the last certification for this sewer system? You know, sort of risk benefit. And if Port St. Joe taxpayers in the city wasn't to, you know, pay $1 million for that, is there still an opportunity to just wait and still get those clients? Because I get it, you know, we do need more people on the system. I guess my whole thing is, from my understanding, and the county has serviced that particular entity on a number of occasions out there. And so how antiquated is it? And what exactly are we purchasing? So,
I think that's everything you said are things that we're gonna look at, plus more in-depth than that, probably, from my point of view anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
What's been offered is basically a $300,000 down payment. And we just did submit a letter, requesting that, but we have no obligation. We are definitely gonna do our due diligence before we make a move on that.
Yeah, because, as I said, being involved with some county stuff before, I know that they've had to go out and help service that particular entity.
And even at this time, I don't even know a figure.
Yeah.
I haven't
So, anyway, I'm gonna just leave this little article with Mr. Arlett.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Anyone else in the audience wish you heard tonight? All right. Commissioner Zett, we'll start with you.
Okay, the only thing I've got tonight is our old train at the Centennial Building. It, number one, it needs a paint job, but that's not the biggest concern I have. The biggest concern I have is our liability. There's rusty holes in it. Kids, even though we have it somewhat roped off, kids are playing in and out of it at all times. Kid gets hurt bad, loses an arm or a leg because he stuck it through a rusty spot. We're in for a real long haul with our liability. So we've got to do something about that train. We either have to put I really don't want to put a chain link type fence around it, but we got to do a better job than we're doing. In the short term, I think we need to at least put, no one on the train or climbing on the train prohibited or something, but that doesn't help, kids are kids, So I'm a little concerned about that. Also, for a point of education, we need a plaque of some sort in front of that train just to let people know the history of it. It's just a train sitting there now. Nobody knows where it came from, how it got there, how old it is, those type of things. So I would like to see us come up with some plaque recognizing who got it there, who, the engineers, what it did. But along with that, we've got to do something about our liability as far as folks climbing on that train. So,
Commissioner, how extensive is the rust damage? Is that something we could have the welding class take a look at? Maybe they can patch certain areas?
oh, definitely, yeah, there's no doubt, and I think they've done it before. John, I don't know, John may not have been here.
No, sir, I don't know about
And
it.
you've been here how long with us, then?
12 years.
12 years, so there you go. Nothing's been done to the train in my time, and that's 12 years there, so we got to take a good hard look at it. I want y'all to put your thinking caps on, ride by, decide if we can put some kind of decorative fence that would keep people out, but still allow people to look at it, and as well as a plaque of some sort explaining a little of the history. So, Mayor, that's all I've got.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Lowry.
Only thing I had a couple approach me, and it's one of Commissioner Ashbrook's projects on the 18th and 19th Street Bridge, pedestrian bridge.
That's my very first project.
Took you a while to get it down, but now they're wanting it back. And so I know we had talked about it. I don't know if Clay still here? Clay, did you ever come up with anything? Any drawings or anything, or?
Yeah, the wooden pile.
I think the most cost-effective, we looked at kind of putting back a metal one that kind of was there, but, to have one for that span to carry golf carts is just astronomical in cost. And so we talked, Public Works, just doing a timber one, similar like you have between Buck Griffin Lake and 16th Street. That's 10 feet wide and it's timber and you can have golf carts and all that. You can easily do that at that location. So in terms of cost, I don't know if we ever went any farther with it than that. We just talked about it.
I would say
I would probably suggest it.
Yeah, I would say then just let's try to get one back there. I mean, don't have to be, it don't have, golf carts definitely don't have to cross it. They just want something there for the kids, so they don't have to cross Long Avenue.
I don't think the expense would be much
Right there.
more to do a golf cart there.
It's probably not. I mean,
Make it 8 foot.
And it's easy for me to speak on John's behalf. You get the timber
I
piles.
haven't gotten to that.
You get the timber piles in, and, I mean, the rest of it's, you know, drills and hammers. So,
Yeah,
you know,
Clay and
so
I
it's not
discussed this,
complicated.
Pre-budget this year a little bit, and yeah, he actually sent me the plans over from when Buck Griffin was done, so I have those. But, we never really went any further than that as far as putting a price together, but we do have the plans that they drew.
Yeah, that bridge would work there. You know, I don't know that you
I'd
gotta
like to sit down and talk and see.
I can put some costs together from the commissioner for the next meeting. if it's
Yeah.
something you like.
Yeah, I know that was your project,
Yeah.
but I've had one call. Sure. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hall. Mish? Yes, sir.
Y'all talked about everything I wanted to talk about. I did miss one person, though, that went down there to speak on behalf of the Centennial Building. Mr. Buckstrom, if he's in this room, thank you. He spoke out as a concerned citizen, got a couple chuckles out of the board. It was pretty interesting. That's all I've got, Mayor.
One thing I have, Jim, and I don't think we discussed it, is our meeting the 21st. Are we gonna still try to have that meeting, or are we gonna cancel that meeting?
I'm going to be out of town that day. I know that for a fact.
I'm normally out of town, but I can be here. If I
Same
have
way
to.
I'm normally out, but
Do we have anything pressing that needs to be done between now and then? I won't wait till the first meeting in December.
Can't think of anything at this point.
first meeting in December is the 5th.
Yeah.
I don't see anything on here that's carried forward.
If somebody gets on this pressing, we can always come and talk to the mayor and call the meeting if we need to.
Right.
So, what's your motion?
I'll make a motion to cancel the last meeting in November. First.
We have a motion, Commissioner Ashbrook,
I'll second.
second, Commissioner Brazil. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes forward. I know this wasn't on the agenda, but it's something I thought we really needed to handle tonight before we leave, so everybody would know what our meeting schedule is. So with that being said, the only thing I'd like to say to everybody is have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And we'll see you in December. Thank you. Motion to adjourn.